There was a boy and his father, his mother, and a pet monkey. That's not much for a ghost story, is it? But wait. None of those sounds scared the little boy because all those sounds were made by him. He'd run errands for people, and he would be out late at night. Everybody always told him about ghosts, but he didn't believe a word. So he made those sounds because he thought it would be funny if somebody heard him and was scared. Some nights, when he'd get home a little late, his father would say, "I don't want you running around at night. I want you home on time. Aren't you afraid?" And the little boy would say, "Afraid? I never saw a Fraid. What's a Fraid?" And his father said, "Never mind, it's nothing to see. It's something to be. And I want you home early, hear me?" And the little boy said he heard, but he kept on being late and making sounds as he walked down the dark roads and past the graveyards and the old deserted house. He never ever saw a Fraid, but he heard. And when he got home, his father and mother would tell him again and again they didn't want him out late. The little boy said he'd try, and then he'd sit down and talk to the pet monkey and ask him why his parents were so upset. There was nothing, absolutely nothing in the dark that could hurt him. And the monkey seemed to agree. One night, the little boy's mother and father decided something had to be done. They could talk and talk, but the little boy would always be coming home late until they did something about it. The father thought and thought and came up with an idea. You might say the father had to do what he was going to do because it was getting later and later, and the little boy hadn't come home yet. He took a sheet and put it over his head and went out of the house and down the road to wait for the boy. And he waited, and he waited. And the monkey kept running from the man to the house to the man, watching him all dressed up in the sheet. And while the father waited, the little boy was making his way home slowly and having a good time, making all his scary sounds. The monkey was very interested in what was happening, and he thought, if the father could dress up in a sheet, so could he. And so he did. The boy came closer and closer, and his father heard the sounds and had to admit that they were pretty spooky. And if he didn't know who was making them, why, he'd be pretty scared. As a matter of fact, he was scared. But he felt he really had to teach his son a lesson about coming home late. The boy was just about to where his father was waiting. When the boy looked around, he could see something all dressed in white coming at him from the bushes. The boy said, "That must be a Fraid." And he was pretty happy to see one at last. Just then, he saw another, smaller white figure come out of the bushes. And he said, "Why, that must be another Fraid." And his father heard him. But the father knew there was just one of him dressed in a white sheet. And if his son saw two things in white, then one of them wasn't him. So it must be a ghost. And he was scared to death and ran, with the monkey dressed in white running after him. And the little boy, not frightened at all, said, "There goes a big Fraid running away from a little Fraid." And he joined them. making his ghost sounds all the way home.